So hi hello everyone, today in this particular video we'll be discussing about the SQL actual interview questions that are asked in the data engineering interview. On the point of view of an interviewer, I have taken many interviews of data engineering, so I can guide you. I have total 5 years of experience in data engineering, talking about different kind of clouds and these things, but today in this particular video we'll be focusing only on SQL, so that because it is a backbone of everything. If you are going for any sort of interviews for data analytics, for data interviews or data engineering interview, AI interviews, SQL is one of the thing that will be asked to you in every interview. Okay, so we'll be talking about the major things that comes to my mind if I take an interview of 0 years of experience, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 years of experience person. So on that point of view, I'll be discussing about the things. Who am I to guide you? Hi, my name is Anurag Srivastava. I am a Databricks certified professional data engineer and also working right now as a senior remote data engineer. So I'll be giving you my point of view, my things, and also I'll be guiding you through so that you can clear off the interviews. Okay, so let's start with the first thing, that is, as you can see on the screen here. So basically on the screen, as you can see, we have like we'll be practicing everything or explaining everything with the proper steps and things so that you have the idea of the thing. So here basically we can see that we have MySQL here already open, and we'll be talking about different kind of things. We have a table called as the employees table. Okay, in the employees table we have data already, and this kind of data in the interviews also will be given, or idea will be given. Okay, this type of data my things will be having. So you have to talk about different kind of solutions, and whatever the interviewers are asking, it can be optimization solutions, it can be a query writing thing, okay, or a problem. Right now I am facing this kind of 5 problem, just help me to solve that. So let's start with the first question, that is, get the second highest salary from the employees table. So right now we have a table in this that is called as employees table. I want to get the second highest salary of the person who is having the second highest salary. What is the amount when he joined, what department he works in, what is the employee ID of that person, all the details of that particular employee I want. So what is the takes? So firstly, if I am asking as an interviewer, I want to check can you solve the real world problems or not? Do you know about the multiple approaches? If I am asking you this solve it, then you solve, then again if I give you some problems approaches, this is the problem now I am having. So if you can do that solutions or not. So let's talk about that thing also. So as a candidate, what you should do? So firstly, you should ask questions. Basically, whether my table will have duplicates or not. Okay, these kind of questions you ask. So basically, he will give you some answers. Okay, on the basis of that, you frame up your questions. Okay, so right now we have this one, like employees, this thing. So basically, just right now we have just written select star from data employees. So data is my schema name and employees is my table name. Okay, so right now we have data something like this that is already displayed on the screen. So basically what I want to do, I want to showcase the approaches. So firstly what I'll do, I will say select max of salary, something like that. Select max of salary. So this will give me the maximum, which is the maximum salary I have got, which person is getting the maximum salary. So I will say it as second highest. Why I am saying this as second highest? Because I'll write my where clause now. Where, okay, I'll write my where clause where salary is less than. I'll write a sub query here. Okay, and this is the most asked very famous interview question, that is basically tell me the second highest salary, tell me the third highest salary from data.employees. Okay, something like that. So we'll just copy this, we'll just run it, and this will give me the second highest salary. Just to test that, what I'll do, I will just write it here and we'll sort it out. But there are problems also in this. If you just give this particular solution, there will be a problem. Okay, if I order by on this is the second highest salary right now. Christopher Anderson in the engineering department who has joined on this particular date, that gives me the 72,000 rupees. So if I run this will give me the second highest salary. Okay, that is fair enough. I got my second highest salary. But what is the problem? If there are duplicates, if I say if the interviewer says if there are duplicates in this, what he will do? There is a problem now. I have to sort that problem. This solution is good if your table doesn't have any duplicates so right now we don't have any duplicates, so that is fine. Okay, if there are duplicates, what you will do? So basically, for a duplicate, every time whenever people say or a person says in the interviewer ask you ki, if I will have the duplicate, what I should do? So basically there he wants to know about the concept, if you are aware about Windows functions or not. ठीक है, Windows functions के बारे में जानते हो कि नहीं जानते हो? So basically second approach, this is second approach. Basically what we'll do, we will comment it out first and we will say how we will write it as. There is a second approach also. What is second approach? We will say select salary from, ठीक है, from where? So I'll write a subquery now. Subquery will have my main dense rank query. There is a two types of window functions, like two major ranking Windows functions, rank and dense rank. Rank is for if you have duplicates, then your ranks are skipped. If you have if you don't want to, if you have duplicates and you don't want to skip the rankings, okay, so you will use dense rank. So right now we will use dense rank. I'll not go very depth of these concepts, because if you want to learn these things, we have a dedicated bootcamp where we talk about these things. यहाँ पे if you go on data, this thing, data part, if we just open a new window, we go to DataX, we have a dedicated DataX Bootcamp where we talk about all those things from the scratch, from the zero. If you don't know anything about SQL, if you don't know anything about coding and all, everything you can learn. And it is a DataX Bootcamp that is zero to here, job ready AI enabled data engineering bootcamp. We have dedicated Gen AI modules also, and it is 100+ hours of video content is there already. And we have just dropped the price some time back. The price of this bootcamp was 7,000 rupees. Then also people were enrolling. Now we have dropped the price of this particular bootcamp so that more and more people can get the benefit. So link of this particular bootcamp is in the description. If you want to know more details about this, we have a video linked here directly, which will give you an idea what is this bootcamp about, what are things about. Everything is there detailed in detail. You can learn about these things. And if you want to know the curriculum, if you have any doubts, all the things are there in the description. Directly reach out on the WhatsApp number. Directly you can ask the things. Okay, directly links and coupon code is also there, so you can get extra discounts also on this price also. So dense rank is something that you can use and directly, this is a function like syntax of using writing a dense rank. We'll say order by salary. I want the most highest salary on the top, and we will say it as RNK, मतलब just aliasing it as RNK, alias कर रहे हैं इसको, and from data.employees, ठीक है, just like that we have just saying, and we'll call it as ranked, ठीक है. This whole thing table, this is called as table now, ठीक है. This is a derived table we have created, ठीक है. Now we'll say where RNK is equal to 2. ठीक है, something like that. I want the second highest this thing. So if I run this, mostly it should run and give me the salary. Now we have multiple duplicates, then also it doesn't matter, it will give me a dense rank. So on that basis I can get the second highest salary. If more, I want to get the third highest, fourth highest, fifth highest, any kind of highest if I want to get, I can get directly from this particular query. So these are the approaches. If interviewer asks you about the approaches, explain him what are the limitations and then talk about this thing. ठीक है, like directly don't just give all the kind of scenarios, all the kind of by yourself. It will look like you have remembered everything and now you are murmuring it. ठीक है, remember करके, memorize करके सारी चीजें you are telling that. Don't do those things. ठीक है. Next question can be basically, let's talk about next question. That is this thing. ठीक है. We'll open a new tab here. We'll just do a select star on employees. ठीक है. So basically whenever you like employees, this thing is there. Now there are two terms, ठीक है, majorly in interviews it is asked, that is where versus having. ठीक है, these two terms are very much asked, that is called as filter. If you want to, what are the differences between a where and having clause, because these are both are used for filtering. ठीक है, in which, why and in which scenarios we use these things, because where you are using where clause, on that place, if there is a place where you're using where clause, at that place you cannot use having. If you are using having, you cannot replace it with where, because both have different kind of use cases. ठीक है, so that thing is also very very important. So basically if we talk about select, suppose I want to get, like if I have a query here, ठीक है, just I'll copy paste the query right now. If I have a query here, In this query, we have used two clauses, that is active, where active is active will not use, where department लिख देते हैं, department is equal to suppose engineering, ठीक है, something like that, engineering इसको use कर ले रहे हैं, and group by डिपार्टमेंट नेम ही लिख दे रहे हैं, डिपार्टमेंट, ठीक है, जस्ट वी आर मेकिंग इट बिट ऑर्गेनाइज सो दैट इट लुक्स बेटर. एंड इफ आई रन दिस, ओके, इट इज नॉट गिविंग मी ग्रेटर देन 1 इक्वल टू 1, so that it gives me some values, ठीक है. So now we are getting some this thing, ठीक है. So basically I'll just tell you what we are doing it here. So basically we have used both the clauses, that is where, and also we have used having also. So where, every time whenever you are using where is a normal filter condition you can use on any kind of filters you can use, but when you are using having, if you want to do any kind of filtering on the aggregated columns, aggregated column means on sum, count, average, these kind of columns, if you want to do directly, you cannot use where clause and do that. You have to use a clause called as having. So that is the difference between these two. Having will be used whenever you want to apply filters on the aggregated columns, ठीक है. Where filter rows before the grouping, if you want to, and also there is also a difference on how these things run. So basically whenever you are using where condition, so where conditions will be like it will filter your rows before grouping the things. Having will filter the rows after groups, like after grouping the aggregations, ठीक है. aggregation को group करने के बाद only we can use having clause, but where will filter the rows first, then it will do a group, ठीक है. So that is also a point. This will be this like in this particular query, it will filter the employees first, then only filter the departments. पहले in employees को it will filter out the department on the engineering, then only it will group the data, and then it will count the things which is greater than that, ठीक है. So firstly it will where will run, then only having will run. That is the difference between these things. So basically this is how you can take the difference between these things, and the interviewer will come to know कि हाँ, yes, you are also aware about the order of execution also. That is also very very important, order of execution. When what runs, when from runs, when select runs, when where condition, sub queries when it runs, those differences also to understand that also, that is also very very important. Next thing, that is basically how to optimize on an indexed data column. Suppose there are two things, ठीक है. I am using a table, ठीक है. We will not run this, we don't have this table right now. Well, just give you an idea. There are two type of queries, ठीक है. First one is optimize, it is a not optimized query, bad query, will say bad query. This is a bad query. Why it is a bad query, I'll just explain. Right now if you are going for interviews, optimized query, right now let me give you a condition. The condition is right now that is basically date column is indexed, ठीक है. That is your condition. Your date column is indexed means, what does it means कि हाँ, date column that you are using right now, if you are using a date column here, so it is indexed. Order date, order underscore date is indexed column, ठीक है. So that means कि basically if interviewer ask you these two columns are, these two tables are there, ठीक है, these two queries are there, so tell me why first one is a bad query and second one is a optimized query, ठीक है. And why he asked that particular thing, because he wants to understand that you have the like knowledge of how indexes work, what are the are you aware about कि हाँ, basically if you are using any sort of functions on a index column, it will disable your index, ठीक है. Are you aware about that thing also or not? So basically you have to tell about the things like this. So basically if you are telling about the first query, so basically you will tell that as we already know that order date is our index column, but we are using on top of that a year function. So year functions like year will disable your index scans, ठीक है. It will disable your index scans and it will cause a full table scan. So it is not leveraging your indexed column, ठीक है. It is not leveraging your index column, but instead if you are using a second query, that is between query, and you are not using any sort of functions on that, so it is not disabling your index, and this will be faster second query, optimized query will be faster than the first query. That is the difference between these two. So be aware about that. These are the small things. If you are not aware about these things, you can get rejected. Okay? So that is very, very important to understand. Okay, so let's talk about the next one, that is different type of joins and all. So very famous, that is called as left join and inner join. Left join and inner join are very, very famous. So basically left join, so people will ask you basically what are the differences between left join, right join, inner join, or they will ask you the input based questions, input output based question. Right now these two tables are there, like customer table are having some value, order table are having some value. Right now if I join it on the inner join, how many rows will come, how many columns will come? If I am joining on the left join, how many rows will come? If I am doing a full outer join, how many rows will come? These kind of questions will be there. So basically it will let me explain you in very, very basic or very, very simple way what does left join, inner join and these things work. So inner join is basically common, whatever is common on the basis of customer ID. If I have two tables, like I have a like order tables. If I have a order table, I'll just explain you. If I have two tables, first one is the order table. Right now here is the order table and here is a customer table, C and O. Okay, there are two customer IDs. There is a common this thing, customer ID and cust ID. Okay, I am joining on the basis of these columns because this will be common. Okay, if I am joining, so inner join, what it says, whatever are common between these two tables, whatever is common between these two tables, get me that value. Common rows only, whatever are common. What left join says, very, very simple, common, whatever the result was coming from the inner join plus whatever is left. Now whatever is left over of the left table, leftover, that has to come in the left join. Similarly on the right join says inner join plus right table left over. Okay, whatever is left on the right table, now get it, that is called as right join. Full outer means whatever is there in both the tables, get that. Okay, left, right, whatever it is, get that. Okay, that is a major thing. So try to understand that also people can ask you, or the interviewer can ask you, what are the CTEs. Okay, CT is also very, very important. CT, it is a clean way. Firstly, every time what I have seen the biggest mistake what people do, if I ask a question to write a query, people will write every time on the CT. CT is a way when we have to not use CT every time. ऐसा नहीं है कि हमेशा we have to use it in every query. No, we have to use it on a certain places, and on the first go don't use CT every time. ठीक है, whenever you think of if a very complex question is asked, at that point only you have to write a CT, and CT is a method to segregate. मतलब कि if you have a very big query, ठीक है, you are doing aggregations everywhere, you can comprise the things at one time and then use it. ठीक है, you can divide your big query into small chunk of queries so that it is much more manageable, cleaner, structured. Okay, it is a clean way of structuring the query. It is not a way of optimizing the query, it is a way of structuring the query. Try to understand these things. So if you are using a CTE every time, if this is the CTE, okay, CTE used, so every time if you are using a CT, you cannot just directly run the select star from this thing, and directly if you run this one only, it will give you a error. So CT has to, this will be the full definition of a CT. If you want to do a like define a CT with the where clause and directly you want to define like this, directly you have to use like that. If you want to learn these all things we have explained, or we have already covered, we have already things in the very crisp and most practical way, in the most production live things, what are the best practices we have to follow while defining these things. Everything is already captured on the DataX Bootcamp. Directly go enroll there and learn about the things. It will help you a lot. Okay, a lot. So this is the meaning of a CT. CT will make your queries readable, modular, and this will help your like if you want to define a ETL scripts, okay, ETL scripts. So you can use CTs directly. It will comprise, it will make your things very structured and look very cleaner. That is very, very important. Okay, so that is also this thing. Next thing is basically, suppose I want to identify, suppose the interviewer asked you ki identify and remove duplicates, identify and remove the duplicates. How you can do that? So basically whenever people ask about these things directly, you can use CTEs. ठीक है, suppose you have a user column, ठीक है, a user table. Now you want to define a query where you can like you want to define, you want to check, you can rank the things directly. ठीक है, तो ऐसे कर सकते हैं. I'll just write the query here and then explain you so that it is easier. So here what I have done, here I have defined, used a row number windows function and directly partitioned it on the basis of email ID and order on the basis of this. I want ki on the basis, I don't want any duplicate people. Okay? So I will, if I have the IDs, which IDs are greater, rank are greater than 1, so that I am aware ki on the email IDs, multiple emails on the same email, more than 2 or 5 times entries have came on the users table. So basically on the top of that, I will delete that like this. Okay? This is how things are made. We have partitioned it on the basis of the unique field that is called as email should be unique on the email, because with one email multiple users cannot log in, multiple users cannot make the account. So it will keep only the first row and then delete all the other row. It is a most common, while if you are doing any kind of ETL this thing in the data engineering, it is most common for deduplication. If you are doing any kind of deduplication, it is very essential to do that, so that any duplicate values are not entered. So very important. Okay? So this is also a very important thing. Other than that, two terms that I want to discuss, that is OLAP, OLTP. Okay? These two terms are very important and very famous also. That is called as online transactional processing, and this is called as online analytical processing. Very important, very famous. These two terms are on these things only. Major interviews are there, and we talk about data warehouses concept, frame like lake house concept, data lake concept, data RDBMS concept, all those kind of concepts, because it is based on that only. So let's talk about this thing. So on OLTP, every time we talk about OLTP will be more focused on OLAP, like online analytical processing will be more focused on data warehousing. All kind of data warehouses that are built on top of OLAP, online analytics, all kind of analytics. If you want to do, all things are processed in that, and OLAP systems are more optimized for reporting and analytics. If you want to run your queries on top of 1 terabyte of data, directly do a select and directly you can do that, because those systems are built like that. Okay, 1 terabyte of data directly. Big data, if you want to store, directly you can store and you can do your querying. That querying is done on the OLAP systems only. Okay, that is very important, and it is also denormalized. Data warehouses or in data engineering, we don't very much worry about normalized data. Okay? If the data is denormalized, that is better. Okay? That is better, because data will be on different places. Directly we can query on top of this and get the results. It is OLAP systems are fast aggregations, because as we have talked कि ज़्यादा data है, directly you can use these kind of techniques and directly do that. ठीक है, very important, very famous also. Other than that, some examples are Snowflake, BigQuery, Synapse, Redshift, Teradata. These are the data warehouses. These are different data warehouses available in the market that you can use or learn about if you want to learn about the OLAP systems, online analytical processing systems. Next thing is transactional processing, that is OLTP. That is if you want to learn about any kind of transactions, banking systems, e-commerce systems, that are all dependent on OLTP, that is online transactional processing systems. Other than that, fast inserts if you want to do, you have to choose OLTP, online transactional processing. Tools like MySQL, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, ठीक है, Oracle SQL, ठीक है, Oracle DB. These all are based on OLTP, online transactional processing. So this is how we need to frame and we need to explain about the things and where to use what. It is not कि हाँ anything is replacement of anything कि RDBMS, if data warehouses came in, RDBMS got replaced. No, nothing got replaced. So this is how you need to approach the interviews. So this was all about the video. This was the part 1 of the things. Many more videos we'll upload slowly, gradually. This is all about the thing. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.